Logan, tell us where it all started, like your music career. First, I know we started in some small studio, and now you're just blowing up. So tell us about that a little bit.
I'm gonna start out by saying I feel like God really put this on my heart. I've always wanted to become a singer. My sister's always wanted to become a singer. I just felt like if I became a singer before her, told her it was possible, become a Christian artist, put out music, and try to lead people to Christ, and done the God that God intended to do, like lead people to Christ and everything. I would be able to like do a deed that was born to do by discipleship. I would feel, that would be my calling, or somewhat a calling for God and me.
Yeah,
And
purpose.
I was thinking maybe that and everything would be really good to just show Lexi, my sister. It would be really, not a challenge that I got there first and you can't get there now since I got there, but a message that it's possible. Since I got here, you can get there too. Doesn't matter if you can't sing or your voice is bad. You can train. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because a lot of us think that can never be me. Those are things that I can't do. But the truth is, like Logan said, if you put your mind to it, all things are possible, especially with God. So I just want to talk a little bit about how this journey has been so far because I know we started, then we started making some music, then we produced it. Now you're all over Alexa. Now you're all over the airwaves, and you're starting to pick up a lot of traction, and you're giving thanks to God, and you're starting to do what I think His purpose was for you, like the reason you were made. Because I think a lot of us struggle with the purpose aspect, like what is the purpose of all this, God? Why am I going through this? But I think a lot of the hardships that you've been through in life so far were to get you to this point, to actually get you to the point to where you could help other people. Because if you've never experienced it, how are you supposed to help other people, right? If you've never
Yeah.
been through those dark times, how are you supposed to help people into the light? Because most people won't understand or have the empathy for it. But since you've been there, you could pull people up, right? So
Yes.
you made some songs and you've created songs. Now you can pull your sister up. So really, your ceiling is her foundation. And that's what a lot of it is too, is because now you understand that, hey, if I could do it, others could do it. And all things are possible. Yeah. Does it take practice? Yeah. How do you get better at things? There's a saying that says practice makes perfect, but practice doesn't make you perfect. It makes you better. Because if practice makes you perfect, why isn't every professional athlete just perfect? If practice makes you perfect, why isn't every professional just perfect? No, it makes you better. And it makes you a better person. It gives you a better heart. And I think all the things you've been through, Logan, are just a testament of who you have become as a man because that forms you to who you are now. And I think that's huge. And I think the man you are now is standing on a solid foundation and a man who could help millions and help millions of people because of your experience. So let's
Yes.
talk about that a little bit.
I mean, I've been through a lot, as you
Let's talk
probably.
about some of these things.
I mean, you've probably, just now producing music and everything. It's been a hard time before that. I was put through a lot of behavioral schools. I was put through a lot of pressure. Before all this, I was disrespecting my mom. I was always down. I was dealing with depression. I was like harming myself. I was self-conflicting and cutting myself. I was getting into problems, fights, and like just disrespecting a lot of people in my life that were trying to help me. And I felt like that wasn't the right way, and I didn't see like it was wrong, but I knew something inside me that it was wrong. If you knew, if you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
it was more of a conscience saying it was wrong, but I didn't have no filter in my head saying it was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you don't know until you know. And I know what I was going to try to pull up a second ago was the last song that we wrote together because it talked about just some of those things you were just talking about. And it's cool that you could express yourself through music, that you could express yourself through a healthier way than trying to harm yourself. But I think that just looking at that song real quick, Do you remember the lyrics or some of the lyrics that I'm talking about now? That last song that we produced, let me pull it up real quick. Give y'all a little sample of what's to come. I know we're still working on this one. It's not released yet, but I think just being able to hear a little bit of it goes a long way because too often we feel
Stuck.
or that we're alone or that we're just the only ones on this journey. And I think Logan. I mean, that's pretty deep right there. Scarred myself like it was PE.
Yeah.
Dang, I mean, I think, sometimes we feel these things inside and we don't know how to express them. It's like 100 feet deep, scarred myself like it was PE. That's what you were feeling. You were feeling 100 feet deep, like you were stuck, that you're down at the bottom, that you're in the darkness. Because when you go 100 feet deep, it's not like the sun shining on you. It's that dark time. And scarring yourself like it was PE. I don't think too many people talk about that. We talk about the good times, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the easy times, the things that people want to hear, we think they want to hear.
And PE, like, I feel most people as PE is physical education, which is supposed to be fun. And scarring yourself like it was PE, I feel mainly that lyric speaks to me. It should stand out to other people. Like, I got out of one of my schools that I was there for a year down in Mexico, Tijuana, and Playas. It was more structural and everything. And I got out and I promised to myself, my mom, and my mental hospital and everything, owner of the mental hospital, and I said I will not scar myself again. I got out, I went to my school, and I got pissed off. I scarred myself again, but it was for a dumb reason because I got mad. I haven't scarred myself since. But it's really hard not to get those feelings, but I have learned over time, it's kind of hard. Like our next song that's coming out, it's going to be the really touching because the devil's going to always try to get to you no matter what, even if you're going to try harder, Yeah. And as the moment you try harder, he's going to try harder against you. And it's hard because you're fighting a daily battle with the devil. And it's always conflicted war. Like right now, like as you and me are sitting down, it's a conflicted war in our spirits right now.
Yeah.
That are fighting right now, and it's crazy because we don't see it, but it just wows us.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people think of the devil or enemy or Satan, even that they think of some guy like a Halloween costume with horns and a little thing in his hand coming around and painted in red. But the truth of the matter is, devil usually doesn't come like that. Nobody, if we seen him like that, it'd be easy to like just push him off and ignore him or kick him off our shoulder, right? But the truth of the matter is, like, he doesn't just have that pitchfork. He isn't just sitting on our shoulder.
He's a lot scarier though.
He is a lot scarier, but I think he comes in our thoughts a lot. And that's where the problem is. He comes in our thoughts. And like you're saying, scar myself like it is PE. That was pretty deep when we were even producing the song. I was like, wow, that's deep because it's not just a physical education, right? But it's our emotional and mental education too that we have to start making people aware of because our physical, sometimes we don't know how to react or act to things. And that's where we end up hurting ourselves or doing something because we feel a certain way inside, but nobody else understands that. And I'll be honest, like a lot of times we don't even understand that. So for us to express ourselves in an unhealthy way is hurting ourselves. And so many of our kids nowadays are doing that. That's why I appreciate you coming on today, Logan, because you're speaking about it, but you also, like a lot of people that come on podcasts or whatever, right, have made it past the struggle. And I feel like you're like still midway through the struggle. I mean, not saying that you're still hurting yourself, but it wasn't that long ago that you were. And it wasn't that long ago that you were in that mental hospital or that school or whatever that was down in Mexico. And now you're coming back and you just went and spoke like about a month ago down at that school that you were at to other kids to help encourage them, to help them find their way because they're lost. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you could do. And that's why I think you have a strength that a lot of people don't have, because most people will go show their scars as something that's healed, but you're still showing a wound that's still there a little bit, and you're healing through it, and you still want to come talk to us. You still want to help people on this podcast. You're going to your school and you're still talking to other people, and you're trying to help them through what they're going through, just so other people don't suffer and struggle with the same things that you went through. I think that's huge, because that takes a different type of strength. Too many people come and say, "Hey, I've survived off this. I've done that. I've done this. I've learned how to be a professional, emotional person and be in touch with." You're still going through it. And I think that takes a different type of strength, because not too many people will come and speak about the things that they're still struggling with. And here you are. And I think that's going to help more people than actually saying how great you've made it, how far you've made it, and how great you're doing, and all these things, which you are doing good, and you have come a long way, and you are producing music, and you are doing things. But this is all part about you being healthy mentally and emotionally and physically, because your mental and emotional affect your physical, and that's why you feel 100 feet deep, scarring yourself like it's PE. And I think that song itself is going to speak volumes to people. So, like you said, that next song that's coming out, I think is going to change people's lives. And you're 100% right on that.
I thank you guys for like putting me on this podcast and everything. And so, you know, I've been thinking a lot about the motivation and speaking and that. And so I was thinking to put out a Bible study group, our neighbors and friends who want to come and learn more about what God can do in people's lives, and not that he only does who he picks, but he loves everyone, and not just for what that person has, or if he's rich, or if they're poor, or if they have this or that. It's crazy that he loved each and every one of us. It's very touching.
Yeah, he loves you for who you are, and
Yeah, and you can come to him just the way you are, not having to change anything.
I think a good example would be coming to God even in the middle of your problems, like you are right now. The middle of it, like, don't get me wrong, I think we all struggle, but we're still kind of in the middle of it, right? And too many people try to hide what their hurt is, and if you hide what your hurt is, it's hard to heal. And you're coming right now and you're talking about it, and I think that it's not only going to help you heal, but it's helping other people heal, because too often they just hear these great stories of, oh, I was this and I was that. It wasn't like, I am still this person and I still struggle. And I'm writing this song. Like I said, write a song, let's get this one going. And then he brought back those lyrics, like, kind of myself, like it is PE. I'm just like, whoa, bro. Like, that's deep. And at first I was like, do we really want to produce this? Do we really want to put it out? But then I felt God put it on my heart, like it's important to. We can't just talk about the good things. We can't just talk about the good times. We can't just talk about all the things that went right. Sometimes we have to talk about the things that went wrong, so we could help other people of that 100 feet deep, because that's where they are right now. They're in the darkness. They're 100 feet deep, and they don't know where to go, what to do, who to turn to. And my vision is, when they, and my heart is, like, I feel like when they hear this song of yours, that they're going to come out and they're going to come up. But it's not going to be just by themselves, but you're going to be pulling them up by your lyrics, by the even talking on this podcast, because you're lifting them up, and they realize that they're not alone, that they're not the only ones who feel that way, that there is something better and a better way besides just hurting themselves. And, I know we're still kind of writing the book about your story. I mean, I love it when that comes out, but, like, there's more background than just, he was in these behavioral homes, or he had to go do this or that. Like, it's a struggle that you've been to and through, and there's so much to your story that we can't cover today. But I think it is important to acknowledge it and realize, hey, this is your story, and we can just try to, like, pretend like it didn't happen, or that you weren't that type of person. But I think the things that we hide, it's hard to heal. So I think you coming out and talking about it, writing the book about it, is another healthy way. Doing a podcast about it and talking about it and thinking about it is a healthy way. Writing music and producing music. And it's not just for you, like you were saying, it's for your sister too. It's like, well, maybe if I could show her that I could do this, it's going to enable her and let her know that she could do it too. And I think that's huge because you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the people that you love the most. And even when you're hurting inside, you're still thinking about those others that you love so much. And I love that about you, man. Your heart um, is definitely a big heart, and I think you got a lot of love to give to the world. And I think we just got to figure out a way to express it better and healthier than just hurting yourself. Because the thing you don't realize, and that a lot of people don't realize, is when you hurt yourself, it doesn't just hurt you; it hurts
Everyone
people
around you.
Yep. I think that's the biggest part. Is sometimes it hurts them more than it actually hurts you because you could get over that physical pain, but they still have that mental and emotional that's still attached to you hurting themselves, and that hurts them. And I think just making
They
it,
also don't know when you're gonna do it again, so it means they gotta watch you more. And and if you have a sister or a brother, they gotta watch you more closely in case you're gonna do more than just hurt or cut yourself. It's just precautions because they don't know if you're gonna go outside, you're gonna go hurt yourself more, or
yeah,
you gotta be more on more watches. They don't want to go take, like, it's hard for a mother or a father. They don't want to go take you to some hospital down the road and not get to see you every day. I mean, it's hard. It's pretty hard for a mother in and her children. And for me, I have a sister and just my mom. I grew up not having a dad, and it's just kind of hard for me by myself learning how to be a man, without the father figure teaching me what to do right, what to do wrong, and without learning all that, it's kind of hard to put that much stress on a mom from like a different country, knowing what is he doing now, what is he not doing, and during my scarring, more stress on her for what is he gonna do now. I hope he's not gonna do this. I hope he's not gonna do that. Oh, now where did he go? It's just hope next day he's alive. It's more stress on the mother and the father than it is on you because you can heal from that pain. The more stress you put on your parents, the longer the lifespan is on your parents.
yeah,
When they get older, the less stress it takes to just snap them.
yeah. And I think, my opinion, we're always either learning or teaching.
Hmm.
I mean, there's more to life than just learning or teaching, but I think we're always either picking up something and learning something, or we're teaching. I'm not just saying that we're teaching people intentionally, but sometimes when you're scarring yourself and hurting yourself, and your sister's around or other loved ones that you're around, they may be learning something from you, and you may be teaching them something. Maybe what they're learning is they don't want to do that, right? I had an alcoholic mom that I lived with, and she taught me that I didn't want to drink when I got older because I saw what it did to her. It wasn't by her telling me, don't drink, son. It's because she drank so much, and she was not a good drunk at all, that I decided I don't want to drink around my kids when I get older. But then, so that could be the mindset of, your sister or somebody around watching, like, hey, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to do this because I see how much stress it causes to mom. But there could be the other flip side, too, to where eventually maybe your sister starts dealing with some similar things because you guys have similar circumstances, right? You're living in the same house, you're dealing with the same thing, you've had the same situation go on. She grew up without a dad, too, and other things that have been a part of her life. And it could be teaching her, like, all right, well, when I feel bad or get mad or get angry, these are the things I'm going to do. And that's why I think that you being in the studio and you coming around and making this podcast and writing books and doing things like that is actually teaching her a healthier way. Yes, maybe she's seen what you did before, but as she sees you change, she's going to see that strength. And most people want that strength and not your weakness. But we're either teaching or learning or teaching. And I think it's important to understand that you could even be teaching your parents that, like, whenever you do something, you could be teaching your parents not to trust you. You could be teaching your parents or your loved ones that they have to walk on eggshells, right? And they can't ever just relax because now it's like they don't know what you're going to do. So we're either learning or we're teaching somebody something.
Yeah.
But that means we also have the opportunity to learn ourselves and be like, all right, I consciously want to make this decision because I realize the consequences that it has, not just for me, but for everybody that I love. And, like, even when somebody does hurt themselves to the point of they're gone and not with us anymore, which is the ultimate hurt and sadness. Like, I deal with a lot of these families, and to see what is left over, the aftermath of that, Like sometimes you just can't put that together. I mean, you can't put something back together that's so broken, and just loss in general is hard. Like I'm helping this one gentleman now that, lost his loved one. And it's not like something like I could tell them something like even a Bible verse or anything like that that's just going to make it better. It's just time and over time. And do they actually forget it? No. Do they actually heal from it? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. Can they live with it? That's what we try to get them to the point of that. They could live with losing their loved one and the loss that comes with that. But too often we just feel the hurt that's inside, the 100 feet deep, because that's where we're at, right? Mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. That's why I love that song so much. It's like 100 feet deep. But then it starts talking about the real stuff too. And it's like, ouch. Like those are the things we want to avoid and not talk about. But I feel like by us even talking about it on this podcast, it's bringing awareness. You're not alone. Other people feel like this, but also the awareness how much hurt it causes to other ones. And some of people out there, I know that they do it to cause hurt to the ones that love them. Some of it do it because they're stuck and they want to just feel something, even if it's hurt. And some of them, they just really need help. So, I mean, it's not just like one easy answer. When you feel that 100 feet deep, that's a loss. That's a place where you're at. And I think that this song is just going to help change so many people. Your book's going to help change so many people. This podcast is going to help change so many people. So I just think, that 100 Feet Deep song is just huge. And it's going to be coming out in the next couple weeks. I'm excited about that. We're just kind of doing some last minute changes to that. But just even getting on and talking on this podcast about it, I think is huge, because people may never even really understood what that was about. Scarring yourself like it is PE, or hurting yourself like it's PE. I mean, like you said, it should be fun, right? PE should be good, but sometimes when you're 100 feet deep and you're lost, it's not so fun. Nothing's fun. And that anger, I don't think your problem was anger. I think your problem was something deeper inside.
Yeah. And also the thing is, during that 100 feet deep, I was going through all sorts of stuff. I was going through depression. I was going through anxiety. And at the time, I was living like it was all fine. I wasn't praying. I wasn't asking for help. I wasn't doing anything like that. And plus, at this school we were going to, it didn't have church or anything. So, I mean, it wasn't helping me at all. So, I mean, I had to do it all myself. So, I feel like that was a sign from God that, not everything comes to you just magically, You have to ask for it, for God to, do it. And you have to ask to receive, like it says in the Bible, and you have to look and you shall find, It's kind of magical, that God has put me in that spot at that moment to speak to me. And now when I look back, but I see it now that he tried to speak to me, and I was so deep in depression in 100 feet, I sound out his voice and didn't even listen, because I was so stuck in my head and, just so drowned out and didn't want to listen to anybody. I was just living like it was all right. I was so stuck in the laws of Satan, and the devil, and he was just taking over my life.
Even the Bible says, like, if you look at Jesus, it says, pick up your mat and walk. It doesn't say you're healed. Now pick up your mat and now we could walk. And I feel like that's what you're doing, is you're picking up your mat and you're doing it for other people. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, you're still going through your struggle, right?
Yes.
So you're going through your struggle, but you're picking up your mat and you're walking. Jesus also told one of the guys, like, stretch out your arm and you're healed. It didn't say, now you're healed, so stretch out your arm, because that's the way we like to think, right? I'm healed, now I could walk. I'm healed, now I could stretch out my arm. And no, Jesus didn't say that. He said, stretch out your arm. So it takes that belief, it takes that step of faith, right? A lot of times we live out of our fears. And I feel like the other side of our fear is more faith, right? So if we could stretch out our arm, even if we're not quite sure, but we could just trust a little bit, then we're healed. If we could pick up our mat and walk, I think that's the hardest part for us, especially when we're 100 feet deep, right? Because, the guy who picked up his mat and walked said, well, I've been here for like 38 years and nobody ever helps me and nobody does this. And Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I'm in a hole. I'm 100 feet deep. I'm stuck. I don't know how to get out of it. Here Logan is picking up his mat and walking, pulling himself up. Not just to pull himself up, but now he's thinking about pulling his sister out. He's thinking about pulling his mom out. He's thinking about pulling other people out by the things that he's doing. And it's helping him heal, but it's also allowing him to pave a way for somebody else. It's making that 100 feet deep something that's bearable, something that we could climb out of. It's almost like being in a well that's 100 feet deep, but start hand digging it one step at a time until we make 100 steps. And at the 100th step, now we're out of that well. We're 100 feet deep. But Logan, one step at a time, one day at a time, one thought at a time, is making ways for everybody else. And that's what I think a lot of this song is about right now, is that, because too often we start thinking, all right, I'm the only one here. I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one going through this. Nobody understands me. Well, you know what? Logan's been there.
Yeah.
And Logan is there. And he's walking out of it. And he's doing it. Is Logan 100 right now? He's a lot better than he was, for sure. But is he 100? No, he's still struggling through stuff. But he's still here, right? He isn't waiting until he's fully healed and be like, I'm going to go tell these people some great story. Then I'm going to write this great book about what I was. No, he's still writing it through the struggle. And that's where I think we just have to applaud him a little bit and just say, like, man, more of us need this strength. More of us need to be like Logan and pick up our mats, and we need to start walking. We need to stretch out our hands. We need to trust, because what we do is we feed into the fear, right? Like, this is how I go a lot of times. I'll think so much, like, I'll ask God one time, God, please do this for me. But my fear keeps saying a million times a day. And, Satan starts attacking my thoughts a million times a day. The same thing, but I ask God once and just want him to just come in and save my life and do these things, to where sometimes we had to pick up our mats and keep walking and keep walking and keep walking and keep walking and take that step and take another step and take another step and take another step and keep telling ourselves these more positive thoughts till we get rid of those negative thoughts, till we get rid of that mindset that's held us back our whole life. And like I said before, I don't think your problem was anger. I don't think your problem was just harming yourself. I think it was something that was rooted in your heart. And those are the things that we have to deal with, is how do we get past what's been rooted in our heart, the way that we feel, the emotions that we have. Because it's not that easy. I mean, you could tell people something like, I don't see what their problem is. Like, they should just do this, right? Yeah, but until you're 100 feet deep, it's not really that easy to actually say, yeah, just do this, Logan. This is all you need to do. Abracadabra, it's done. No, you have to pick up your mat. You have to do it. Not only that, you have to do it daily. It's not like you could just be like, all right, I'm done. We're cool, you guys. Good time. Let's break real quick. It's like you got to constantly do that. And that's one thing.
And after, it's not, you stop, it's, you keep continuing to do it, and you keep on and keep on. It's not, you ask God, you got out, and you stop, that devil and that Satan's gonna still continue to attack, and you're gonna still need to and continue to ask God for help, and I've learned over the years that it's all right to ask for help, and if you're afraid, it's easy, just ask and you'll feel better. Everyone asks for help. I was that kind of child back then, when I just couldn't stand to ask for help, and now I ask for help every now and then. If I mess up, I'll be like, hey, can you give me some help? Or, hey, can you help me on this? It's all right to ask for help. I bet you ask for help, don't you?
I ask for help all the time, especially us as men or people in general. I'm not going to just put a label on men, but I think asking for help, people think it's a sign of weakness. Like, people are going to judge us and people are going to start saying or talking about us, but it actually takes more strength, because you have to even get past that mindset of, you know what, maybe somebody does judge us. Maybe somebody does talk about us, which that happens too. But I think it takes more strength to actually ask for help. So if you think that sometimes you're being weak by asking for help, I think it's actually being strong by asking for help. And you're absolutely right. Like everybody has to ask for help. And we can't always do this by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a gift and you have a talent that I don't have. You could sing and you could do stuff. I can't do that. I could help you produce and I could help you get on a show or write a book, but we all have our different strengths and for us to help each other out. But that's why I feel like you have a strength that's going to help so many people because you've been through that dark spot. You've been 100 feet deep and you've hurt yourself. You've done that. And there's so many people that need you. And that's the truth of it. It's not just your mom and your sister and your family that need you. It's so many people out there because your strength isn't just your strength. It's your strength for everybody else around you, your community, your friends, your family, your just people that you haven't even met yet, that eventually your story is going to change their life. They're going to be like, I read your book or I heard your song or I heard this one song actually changed my whole life. And, you know, it's like the pivot, right? Pivot to small step, but it's in a whole different direction. That's what you're going to start doing. Is you're going to start with what you're doing right now. Project Logan is going to start taking people in a whole different direction, a whole different direction. That's because of your experience about the things that you went through. And God does have a plan for you. And God has had a plan. It wasn't like one day all of a sudden God said, wow, Logan, why are we doing all this? I never knew this was going to happen. If I knew we were going to go down this road, I would have never made you. No, he made you and loved you exactly how you are. And he knew that you'd go through that, but he also knew that you'd survive. And he saw what the other side of that survival was strength, and strength to help other people and pulling other people up and pulling other people out from that 100 feet deep, because that's who you are. And you know where it's at, and you know how to pull them out because you've been there. And yeah, sometimes we're only 50% out, or maybe now we're only 50 feet deep or 25 feet deep or 10 feet deep or 1 foot deep, whatever it is. You've been there, man. And I've been through some stuff in my life, but I haven't been there. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been where you've been. And you're going to help people that I can never help. And I can help some people that maybe you can never help. But your strength is your strength, man. Never judge your strength based off of what other people are doing. Base it based off of what you're doing. Because what you're doing is your strength. And that's what's going to change people's lives. It's not going to be my strength that changes people's life. It's your change and your strength that changes people's lives. And I think that's huge. And you know, I just think that the more we recognize that too, like I have some people tell me, dude, you've helped me so much and this and that. It isn't really me, it's God, first of all. But it was only because I've been through that experience before. It's only because I've survived it. It's only because I've been through it and I've been hurt so bad. And, you know, we can't judge other people's 100 feet deep because my 100 feet deep may be a lot more shallow than yours. And yours 100 feet deep may be a lot deeper and darker than mine. But we both have those. And I think just by what you're doing is huge, man. And I think we just got to keep doing more. We need more Logans in the world. And if we had more Logans in the world doing these things, I think the world would be changing. And I think that's part of your call today, and with your music and with this podcast and with your book and everything, is a call to actually get more people involved with their hurt and their strength, right? If we always just stopped at our weakness, right? You got a gym membership recently?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you get a gym membership, and, you know, maybe you haven't worked out for a while. Like me, I haven't worked out for a while. So if I go to the gym, guess what's going to happen right away?
You're going to be sore.
Boom. I'm going to be sore, right? So if I'm sore, it's stopping at my weakness. What if I just said, oh my gosh, this hurts, I'm stopping, I'm never working out again? How am I supposed to push through to my strength? And that's what you got to do too in life. Like, you're young. The sooner you could recognize this, the better off you're going to be. It's like, all right, here I am, I'm young, but I can't always just stop at my weakness or I'll never find my strength. It's like at the gym, if you just stop every time it burns and never go back, or you just quit, you're never going to find your strength. You're just going to stay the same.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that you're even doing with these podcasts and this music and these things. And even if you know it or not, you're not stopping at your weakness. Your weakness is, I can't walk, and I've been here for 38 years, and Jesus is saying, pick up your mat and walk.
Yeah.
And those are the things we got to do. It's like, all right, mentally, emotionally, physically, I think everything goes hand in hand. And we have to pick up our mats and we have to walk. We can't stop at our weakness or we'll never find our strength. And I think what you're doing is you're finding your strength. You're finding out who you are. we all struggle with identity. That's one of the biggest things. Like even the shirt I'm wearing right now, it says identified. But that's based off a book that I wrote. It's identified beyond the 12 steps. It's identified. And the main reason it's identified beyond the 12 steps is because most people who struggle with addiction or recovery, right? It's not really like they can't quit because they can't quit. But mentally and emotionally, they don't know who they are. They've been somebody for so long. And that's what, I feel like you've struggled with too. That's what all young people struggle with. Who am I now? Because you go from your mom or family telling you what to do your whole life, even at some point wiping your butt, doing everything for you. And now you're getting a little bit older. Now you're getting a little bit older. And now you're old enough to think on your own. And you're old enough to do stuff on your own. So what comes with that is also like, who am I? What type of person do I want to be? Who am I growing into? And you could look at all your friends being stupid and young and dumb. And you could be like, oh, I could be that. Or you could see some of them doing really good in life and be like, oh, I want to do that. Or you could say, you know what, I want to just do what I do. I want to be who I am. But everybody struggles with identity at some point. So we're going to start wrapping it up. I just want to thank you for coming on today, sharing part of your story and part of your testimony. Also, just, his music's going to be on every platform out there. You guys could check it out. Logan Dishman. Make sure you check him out. You can even go to your Alexa and play music by Logan Dishman, and it's actually going to play it. So I suggest checking out those songs. He has some really good ones. I think his best ones are the ones where he does it by himself. I've gone on a couple with him. I think I destroyed his songs by vocally singing. But we tried and we did it together because sometimes we just have to do things together, right? You can't always do it yourself.
Yeah.
And the first was with me, and now he's more confident in doing them himself. I think that's huge, and he's not just doing it for himself. He's doing it for his mom. He's doing it for his sister. He's doing it for you guys to show you that anything is possible. All things are possible if you start putting your mind to it and you include God with it. All things are possible.